This podcast is brought to you by Convo Cloth, the official clothing apparel of the NBC podcast. For the latest apparel, please go to www.nothingButConvos.com. Now, let's get into the latest episode of the NBC podcast with your boy, S. McCann. What's good, people?
Nothing like it.
It's the NBC podcast with your boy, S. McCann. And this is episode 17, Draft War Room 2021. And my guest for this episode is Mike Z, my boy, my guy. You know how we get down. And in this episode, we break down the top 10 teams that's drafting in this year's draft, the trades that happened before the draft, and our take on certain players, certain teams, and certain team needs. And so before we get started, this episode took place before Baltimore's big trade with Kansas City. And so Baltimore, they traded Orlando Brown to Kansas City for a 2021 first round pick, number 31, a third round pick, number 94, a fourth round pick, number 136, and a fifth rounder in 2022. And so Kansas City, obviously they got Orlando Brown, a 2021 second round pick, number 58, and a sixth round pick in 2022. And so people, let's get into this episode 17, Draft War Room 2021. Yeah. What's good, people? This is the NBC podcast with your boy S. McCann. I do have a special guest. My guest is Mike Z. What's good, Mike?
Everything, man. Thanks for having me back on here. It's always good.
Yes, sir. Let's get into this 2021 NFL draft. You know how we get down. Yeah. Episode 17. Let's get it. So these pre-draft trades, bro. Miami, they was picking third overall. And this was from the Texans' Laramie Tunsil trade. They traded the number 3 to the 49ers for the number 12 overall for a 2022 first round pick, a 2022 third round pick, and a 2023 first round pick. The Eagles then traded the number 6 pick to Miami for the number 12 overall for a 2021 pick, fourth round that is, 123rd, and a 2022 first round pick. Miami received a 2021 fifth round pick, number 156, and these trades basically involved only 3 teams, but you already know it threw off the draft order from number 4. So what you think about these trades, bro?
I was surprised the Niners moved up that high. I thought they would ride it out another year with Jimmy G. We all know, I think the consensus is he's not like the greatest quarterback. They had a really good team that year. They went to the Super Bowl. I'm still surprised to see them jump up that high, especially you never see a trade that with that big a movement this far in advance of the draft. But if they make the right pick, I think it was a good move for them. Dolphins got more picks, not that they really need any more. With the Eagles, I didn't see that one coming. I just remember I was sitting on the chair And about I see the 49ers trade, then a half hour later, the Eagles and Dolphins. And that one took me by surprise too, because I thought the Eagles would have stayed in there. All the fans want a receiver. They want Kyle Pitts or Devontae Smith. But I think in the end, I think that was the smart play for the Eagles. You give Jalen Hurts a shot. You give him a full year to see what he really can do. You're still picking high enough that you can get a good player to build around him, and you get that extra first and three potential first round picks next year now if the trade with the Colts works out. And you
Yeah,
at that point you either get your quarterback next year or you have Hurts and you continue to build around him for the future.
yeah. When I seen that, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what they trying to do. They just trying to rebuild. You have to rebuild, and to go back 6 picks, that's not that bad. You still in the first round, so you're gonna get a top tier talent at 12, and also you pick up that draft compensation for next year. It's no lose lose. You get a first round pick,
Yeah,
bro.
they
You
have to
know these
rebuild. I
first round
mean,
picks is a hit and miss anyway.
yeah. And they're an older team. If you just look at the front seven with Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, and their main guys, they're all getting up there. They're not young. They're in their early 30s now. And in football years, that's getting up there in age. I think, like you did, it's a smart play. You get these extra picks. You got multiple first round picks in the following year. You're not going to probably not going to win the Super Bowl this year. Rebuild. You got a first year head coach, give him some ammunition to build that roster up and make it
Yeah,
into a team that can contend for multiple years.
straight. You really have to look at it as, yeah, that 6 pick would have been nice, but you getting another first round pick just to move back 6 places, bro.
But now,
So
like we talked about before, the key is going
yeah,
to be hitting on these draft picks. They
you
haven't
gotta
really
hit.
hit because the only
Yeah,
Pro Bowler in since 2012, I believe, was Carson Wentz. So it doesn't matter how many picks you get if you don't hit.
I think
So we got to.
Brandon Graham was a Pro Bowler last year.
Oh, he was drafted back in like 2010.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I get what you're
but
saying.
yeah,
Yeah,
but that's going to be the key is hitting on these picks. If they can hit on
yeah,
these picks, then they'll be in good shape.
yeah, man. So the draft order, we just doing the top 10. We're not doing all the teams. We be here for 3 to 4 hours breaking down the draft with a mock draft of all the teams. So we just doing the top 10. And so the draft order right now, as it sits with the first pick, the Jaguars are picking, and their projected pick is Trevor Lawrence, the
I
QB,
think it's safe
Clemson.
to say that one's pretty much set in stone. We can stop saying that
Yeah,
one's projected at this point.
that's it. We already know what that's going to be. The Jets, the projected pick, they got the second pick, and their projected pick is Zach Wilson, the quarterback out of BYU. And like Mike said, we already know that's set in stone. And so the third pick is the 49ers. And so the projected pick a week ago was Matt Jones. But now the projected pick just as of today is what, Mike?
Justin Fields.
Yeah,
That's
so
that's the
now
hottest
Justin
rumor after
Fields.
today.
Yeah, so now Justin Fields is back in, I guess, 49ers grace, if you want to say that they want to pick him now. We'll talk about that a little later in the pod about Justin Fields, but the projected pick a week ago was Mac Jones from Alabama, but now it's Justin Fields from Ohio State, quarterback. Number 4 is the Falcons, and we seen in the news that the Falcons might not even stay here. Basically, they're ready to trade this pick out. The projected pick is Trey Lance, the QB from the alma mater of Carson Wentz. The next pick is the Bengals at number 5, and their projected pick is Kyle Pitts. And then the next projected pick, what they were saying was going to be Jamar Chase, the receiver out of LSU. And Kyle Pitts is the tight end from Florida. And so Jamar Chase, I think, is the pick for the QB because they played together. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Before everybody was hot on Jamar Chase the last couple of weeks for Cincinnati, everybody had them taking Penny Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon,
Yeah,
which would make sense because Burrow
it
obviously got
would make
hurt
sense.
and their line wasn't the greatest. They signed an offensive lineman in free agency, but you still need offensive linemen. But now the rumors are saying that Burrow is pushing for Jamar Chase. So
Yeah,
I could, if he's on the board, I could definitely see that, which I think he will be there if the way the draft is
yeah,
going to fall with the quarterbacks. I think Chase would probably be the betting favorite to go to the Bengals there at number 5 right now. I'd say if it wasn't Chase, I would probably guess that it would be one of the offensive tackles. I don't know about Pitts right there. I would probably say Chase and
yeah,
then Sewell or Slater.
yeah. Me too. I think they should go tackle, offensive tackle. But if your quarterback is saying who they want, you got to go with your
But
quarterback,
they already
bro.
have decent receivers. Tyler Boyd is nice. They drafted T. Higgins last year, who had a
Yeah, but
really
when
good
you get
rookie
that one
season.
more, if you get one more and you don't even gotta pay him top dollar, you get one more. Now you setting your quarterback to succeed,
Yeah,
bro.
but look what happened to Mahomes in the Super Bowl when their line fell apart. It didn't matter.
You can get O line in those bottom halves of the draft. You get the receiver, then you just draft O line second round, third round, fourth. Just do that. You don't gotta get an O line there.
Yeah, but the receiver class is way deeper in this draft than
Yeah,
the
true
offensive
indeed. But
tackles are.
if
If
my
you could get one
QB
in the
is
second round, if that's
lobbying,
what you really need. But no, I
yeah,
agree. They put up great numbers together. Burrow had a historical college season with Jamar
yeah,
Chase. But yeah, I wouldn't
yeah,
disagree with you there. If they took Jamar Chase there, I think that would be either way. Whether they went with Chase or Sewell, I think they would
yeah.
both be good picks.
Me too. So the next order of the draft, the next pick is Miami, and their projected pick is Jamar Chase as well to go with Tua out there in Miami. The 7th pick is the Lions, Detroit, and this projected pick is Justin Fields. If they can get Justin Fields at 7, the Lions are ecstatic, bro. They are
That
ecstatic.
Oh, absolutely. I haven't heard too much on quarterback for them. Remember, they did just
Yeah,
trade for Goff and they got his big contract. It wouldn't surprise me to see them take a quarterback like Justin Fields if he fell. A lot of like mock drafts and a lot of hype I see in the media would be that they would take like a Devontae Smith or receiver because they just lost Kenny Galladay to free agency. Or
yeah,
that could be another spot for them to trade down because there were rumors saying that they would trade down. And
yeah.
I
I
think
would.
if Justin Fields fell that far, then a team like a New England or even Denver could try and jump up to take him at this spot. But if they stay at 7, the hottest rumors are that they would might look at receiver, or even I've seen a couple mock drafts have them taking Micah Parsons, the linebacker from Penn State. He's pretty much a do-it-all linebacker. He can play in the middle. He can rush off the edge. I think he was
Yep,
like 240 pounds and ran a 4.3.
bro.
Unreal athleticism, and he can do it all. So it could
Ain't their
they could go
coach
a couple different ways there.
the coach is from the Saints? Wasn't he the tight ends coach?
Yeah, I believe so. And he was like the assistant head coach or something like that.
Yeah.
He was the
So
one saying
say
he
if
was
Kyle
looking for a
Pitts,
bunch of guys to bust your kneecaps at his press conference. Was
yeah.
that guy?
So if Kyle Pitts dropped to 7, I see them taking him
Oh yeah, especially if
just
they're in
because
the
of the
market for a
coach.
receiver. I know he's
Yeah,
technically labeled a tight end, but you could look at him a tight end. We've talked about this outside of this all the time about how he's a tight end receiver. He can do Pitts can do it all. So
yeah,
obviously, of course, if I fully expect Kyle Pitts to be gone by 7, there's no way he's going to last till 7. But if he did, it would definitely make that pick more interesting for the Lions.
yeah. It should. So number 8 is the Panthers, and their projected pick is Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle from Northwestern. As you guys know or heard, they just got a quarterback, Sam Darnold from the Jets. And so they just picked him up. So this pick should be an offensive tackle to protect him. Number 9, The Broncos, their projected pick is Penny Sewell, offensive tackle from Oregon. And basically, the reason why the projected picks for these offensive linemen is coming because the top four picks are basically quarterbacks. And so it's pushing the draft down. Now, you getting good players being pushed to these teams. And so why wouldn't you take the top offensive linemen if they're getting pushed all the way to 8 or 9?
Yeah, absolutely. The Broncos could be in the market for a quarterback as well because Drew Lock hasn't really set the world on fire and shown that he could be the guy. I could definitely, like
Yeah,
you said, if one of these tackles fall, or if, like we talked about, if you start to see Justin Fields slide down a little bit, the Broncos are mentioned as a team that could move up for him or even a Trey Lance if either one of them slide past four. You see the Broncos moving up at the beginning. A lot of before free agency, you would see the talk of the Broncos going for corner, but I don't see that anymore. They signed a couple
yeah,
guys in free agency, so I don't think they go that route.
yeah. I don't see them going no corner.
No, not after
And so the
before free
last
agency, yeah. But then they signed a couple corners in free agency. The kid from that the Bears cut, Fuller, they signed him,
Fuller
and they signed one more as well. I can't think of
from Washington, what's his name? Washington. He used to be with us, Darby.
Yeah. They signed Darby too, so
Yeah,
they're not going to take a corner here. Yeah, I would say either one of the top tackles. The consensus at the beginning, at least among the media, was that Sewell was the top tackle, but now they're starting
yeah,
to say that Slater might have overtaken them. But either way, it's Slater and Sewell head and shoulders above the rest of the tackle class.
yeah. And so our last team that we're going to talk about, number 10, is the Cowboys, our rivals. And so their projected pick is what, Kewi Pay out of Michigan. He's an edge. And they need defense to me, but the rumblings were talking about them selecting an offensive player, which would be bad. And we're going to talk about that at the end of the pod. But yeah, this is their projected pick is defense, and that's the edge from Michigan. And
Or a lot
so,
of people have them taking Sertain out of Alabama, the corner,
yeah,
which would be a
yeah,
good pick for
and
them as
that would
well.
be a great pick for them because they need a corner and an edge. And so, if they would get him, that would be great for them. And so, the next half of this pod is basically me and Mike breaking down our teams. My team got the number 12th pick, and his Ravens got the number 27th pick. And so my needs of my Philadelphia Eagles, what we really need is a receiver, corner, linebacker, offensive tackle, DN, tight end. Look, we need everything, man. We trash. So whatever we can get,
That's
yo,
what happens
let's
when you're in the
get it. So
rebuilding mode.
yeah, we need everything. So our projected pick is Patrick Surtain, corner out of Alabama. And they also said that we're looking at Horn from South Carolina, corner. So either one of those corners, I'm good with. But if a tough wide receiver drops to 12, let's get him. If Kyle
Absolutely.
Pitts drops to 12, let's get him.
No,
But if
I
they
mean,
all going, we gotta go corner.
yeah. If Kyle Pitts somehow fell, I'd say you run that card up to the podium. I don't see that happening. I do see potentially maybe Waddle or Devontae Smith falling because,
Yeah,
and I know everybody's talking about their size isn't a big deal, which that's everybody's saying that. But if you look at history, receivers of their size do tend to fall in the draft. We can look
yeah,
at just what was it, the last draft where CD Lamb fell all the way to Dallas at what was it, like
yep,
16 or 17, and Henry
yeah,
Ruggs, the first receiver taken, wasn't taken till 11. So while I fully expect Jamar Chase to be taken with a top five, top six pick,
yeah,
Waddle and Smith, I could easily see them falling because of teams concerned about their size being like 180, 185 pounds. So
yeah,
if one of those was there, this works out great because people, well, when the Eagles had the sixth pick, a lot of mock drafts had them projected to take one of them at six. But if you can move down at 12 and still get one of them, that's great. But also, like you had mentioned, getting one of those top corners, like or Surtain if he's still there, or even if he's there, they would both be great picks because yeah, they being picked that high, you're going to have number one corner potential, but you guys already have a Darius Slay, so these guys are
Yep.
coming in and not necessarily guarding the opposing team's number one
That's what I'm
receiver, so
saying.
you could set them up for success there, and you have a solid corner
Yes.
tandem, and that'll help out your pass rushers big time.
Yep. Yeah. If we pick a top corner in the draft, they going against the second best receiver on the team, bro. And
Absolutely, or I could
they
even
ain't
see an
gonna
edge
get
rusher too.
yeah. And so if if they're there, you take it because now you setting up, like you said, the defensive line for success. You need to do that. But we already
Yeah,
know, man, how we get fixated on somebody. Then he be like, oh, this is who we want. But yo, this is a no brainer. If these corners are here, just pick them. That's
oh,
it.
absolutely. Because like we talked about, the receiver class is deep, and I think you guys have multiple second round picks this year, if I'm correct, and you can get a receiver in the second round. Because
Yeah.
obviously we know you need to give more weapons for Hurts to give him have a chance for success. Like you said, if one of those corners is still there, then that's a home run pick in my opinion to help out that defense because they were getting cooked.
Yeah.
Especially
It's
when you
yeah.
got C.D. Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper,
Yeah,
and you
you
play
need a
them
corner.
twice a year. You need multiple corners to guard those
You
guys.
need
And
multiple
even
corners, man.
Washington with
Yeah.
McLaurin, and then they signed Curtis Samuel in free agency. So
Yeah.
even they got multiple receivers now.
Yeah, the corner is that's the way to go. So
And
your
the Giants just
Ravens.
added Kenny Galladay, so that division you're going to need multiple corners to be successful in that division this year.
Yeah. And so your Ravens, they're picking
Yep,
at number
27.
27. And so the needs of your team is an edge, O line, and receiver. And
Yeah,
break
correct.
down the O line or what you need.
Those are the biggest needs. Free
Mm-hmm.
agency, we lost Yannick Ngakwe and Matthew
Yeah.
Judon, our top two edge rushers. We're always in the market for a receiver. Yes, we signed Sammy Watkins. I like that move, but we still need to draft a receiver, I think, in the top two rounds. A lot of mock drafts, I've seen the most popular pick right now, and I believe Mel Kiper in all four of his mock drafts has us taking Terrace Marshall Jr. out of LSU.
Yeah.
He's a bigger receiver. He's still got 4.4 speed.
Yep.
Looking at his numbers here, he's 6'3", 205. He ran a 4.4 in the shortened
Sir.
season. He had 10 touchdowns last year with the bad quarterback play. I think that could be because we needed a bigger receiver. You got Hollywood, who's fast and small. Sammy Watkins is he's okay. He's not that big physical receiver that you necessarily need. So I think Marshall or even Rashad Bateman is another popular pick, and his measurements actually surprised some people. They thought he was going to be a little bit bigger. He ended up measuring in at 6 foot and 190 pounds, which is still would be an upgrade, and I think would be a good pick as well. Or edge rusher, it's hard because at that late they're talking with this draft, this edge rusher class. There's no obvious like Chase Young top of the line guy.
Yeah.
They're all pretty solid. So guys, I think that could be picked at the edge for us could be like Jalen Phillips out of Miami. His teammate Gregory Russell could fall.
Mhm.
Joseph Osai, I've seen mock to them as well. So there could be multiple edge rushers. And then I
And
think
the
one of
edge
the
from Penn State.
yes,
Yeah.
Jason Owa.
Yep.
Yeah, he had some crazy numbers. I think he's
Yeah. His
6'5",
numbers
250,
is
and I think he
crazy.
ran like a 4.3 at his pro day. For me, I don't know how I feel about that because he had 0 sacks. And yes, I know you're drafting on
Yeah.
projections. You're projecting him to be good, to be much better. But to me, I would still like to see some production. I'm not saying you got to have a 10, 12 sack season in college, but at least have some kind of production. And I haven't really watched him too much, so I don't know too much about him. That is another popular mock selection to us. And then our other biggest need would be on the offensive line. Our offensive line in that Buffalo playoff game got torn up. Center couldn't snap the ball. So we need interior. We need another guard, like a left. We had the plan would be if we took a guard then our current left guard would then slide to center, who
Yeah.
Bozeman, he played center at Alabama in college and was good there. Or you could just draft a center and leave him at left guard, and I think that would be all right. And then another underrated need would be offensive tackle, because the Orlando Brown Jr. situation where he wants to be traded to a team where he can play left tackle. So if you
Yep.
trade him, then obviously tackle becomes a need. And even if you don't, you're going to need somebody to replace him, because after this year, he's going to leave via free agency anyway. So
Yeah.
offensive tackle, right tackle is another underrated need for us as well. So I would be happy with the first round pick if they're picking any one of those, whether it's receiver, edge, or offensive line. I think those are the routes we need to go that would help our team the best and give Lamar
Yeah.
that chance to continue his growth and hopefully get him a Super Bowl.
Yeah. You gotta build around that QB. And if you don't build around your QB, man, it's gonna be rough for you.
No, yeah.
Justin
So
Fields.
if we get a big body receiver, I think that's going to help
Yeah.
Lamar out tremendously in the passing game.
Yes. So Justin Fields, all the talk 2 weeks ago, a week ago, was him dropping in the draft. Me and Mike talked about it. We like, look, man, this dude is one of the top offensive talents that you have in this draft at quarterback. He's been highly rated since high school. The top 2 quarterback highly rated. And so even with his numbers at Ohio State, he's dropping. Come on, man. The dude got talent. You can't say he don't got an arm. He can't run. You saying that, oh, he always stares down his first receiver. But if that first receiver open, I'm not looking at the other one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when people talk about, oh, Mac Jones went through his progressions, how? When he had Waddle and he had the other dude was always open. He was the best receiver in college football.
Yeah, you have all these first round picks at receiver, and then you got Najee Harris catching balls out of the backfield as
Yeah.
well. Life is easy for you when you got that. Yeah, he had so much talent, and obviously Justin Fields has the size, he's got the arm, he's got the speed,
He got
and I think
everything.
what doesn't get talked about with him enough is his toughness. And you can see in that playoff game against Clemson, he took that shot to the ribs, and you could see how much pain he was in. And he missed maybe one play, if at all, and came
Yeah.
back, and you could see how much pain he was in, and he's toughing it out. He's got that toughness. And with regards
Yeah.
to not getting past his first read, you got to look at what he was asked to do. What in that system, we don't know what he was asked to do as outsiders.
Yes.
Was he only asked to look at that one read? But again, like you said, if that read's open, why would you look past it anyway? Because the number one read, that's the guy the play's designed to go to
Man,
anyway.
if anybody talk about who made reads in college, everything wide open. What type of reads you making? Everybody wide open. You can't say that Mac Jones made all these reads. Dude was the number one receiver. He was wide open. He was cooking everybody. What read do you need to make?
And
Like you
especially,
said, he had the running back. He had receivers, tight ends, offensive line. What reads you making?
especially with the way the game is playing with these quarterbacks now, you would think that you would lean towards a Justin Fields, because obviously Mac Jones is limited with his athletic ability. But yeah, I'd be stunned if I know all the rumors are saying that the 49ers are
Man.
taking Mac Jones. I'd still be stunned to see that happen.
Yeah, I'll be stunned too, bro. It's no way. And whoever gets this kid Fields, they're going to have a field day, because one of those teams, they're just going to sit them because they already got a quarterback. They're just going to sit them. You can teach a quarterback to go through their progressions, bro. You can teach that. You seen it with your man Lamar Jackson. You seen it.
He's
He
gotten
in
better
college,
over the years at it. Is he
yes,
perfect? No, but he's good.
no.
You can see the improvement from year to year.
But that's what you have coaches for, to teach
Exactly.
that, bro.
Remember,
You
these
don't
are
have. Go ahead.
21, 22-year-old kids, so it's not like
Yes.
you can mold them and make them into what you want them to be, as long as as long as they got the football IQ and that talent and
But
athleticism
it
is
comes to
there.
that coach, bro. It comes to the coach and the system. If you think that Mac Jones is good for your system, pick him at 3.
Yeah,
He better be
and
good.
then I was listening to another podcast earlier today with a guy that
Yeah,
covers the NFL for a living, and
yeah,
they was talking about some of the concerns that he was hearing with Fields and that we don't hear about, is that maybe that Ohio State system doesn't necessarily set you up for success at the pro level. And they also talked about the guy, the most recent quarterback at Ohio State, being a massive bust. But granted, that was for different reasons. That was for
man.
immaturity type reasons. And as far as I heard, I haven't
Come
heard
on,
Fields has
man.
those kind of concerns at all. So that shouldn't be held against them at all. But just
No.
these are some things that I've heard that might potentially. And again, who knows? This could all just be smoked by a team trying to get Fields to
Yeah,
fall down to them so they can pick him. You
yeah.
never know with all these rumors come draft night and
Was
it actually
Haskins
happens.
was Haskins rated the number 2 quarterback in high school?
No,
Number 1 or number 2? I never heard of the boy. I
that
never
was
heard
just
of Haskins.
that was just a terrible draft class for quarterbacks overall. I
Yeah.
mean, it was like him and Daniel Jones.
Yes.
That was not the year to need a quarterback. I mean,
Yeah, him and Daniel Jones, man, they both was. Well, Daniel Jones ain't bad, but damn, coaching. That's what happened with Daniel Jones. Coaching, somebody coached him up. His
he had the same coach as
quarterbacks coach
Eli and
did
Peyton
his.
from down in Duke, Cutcliffe.
Yeah, he had good coaching. That's why they picked him. And so these offensive tackles dropping in the draft. I wouldn't be mad if my team picked the offensive lineman, bro. I wouldn't be mad at that.
No,
If you can get a top offensive lineman at 12, oh my
because
goodness.
you can plug him in at left tackle and you're good to go. Because Dillard's always
Yeah.
been hurt, and the few times that he has played for you guys, has he really shown that he's the left tackle for the next 10 years? Not necessarily.
No getting
And so
cooked.
if you can get a Penny Sewell or a Rashawn Slater that fall to 12, now not only are you got your left tackle situation, now you're giving Hurts more confidence when he's back there, knowing that he's going to be protected.
But see, what I'm looking at is look, you can draft that pick. Then you can trade.
And
Like you can trade that
I'm a
pick.
strong believer in you build your team from the lines out.
Yes, you do.
If you have a good offensive line, chances are your team's going to be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I feel like offensive line is more important than necessarily like the receiver position or a tight end position. Obviously, every position has its value, but
I don't know
I
about
think
that,
offensive
bro.
linemen are more important.
If you can have an offensive lineman and you can have a great offensive line, but you don't got no pass catches, you clean, and there ain't nobody getting open. Come on, man. You still need that pass catcher,
Oh
bro. You
no,
need somebody to
absolutely,
get it.
absolutely. But to me, I don't know. I just think for me, the offensive line is more important because they affect the run game a lot more too. Because the receivers help out and block a little bit, but obviously it's going to come down to the offensive line.
Yeah,
So
I get what you're
if you
saying.
get that starting left tackle you say you take a Sewell and he's your starter for the next
Yeah,
10 to 12 years, you don't have to worry about left tackle for the next 10 years, and you're set,
yeah.
and you can focus on getting these pass catchers and these other positions to help out your quarterback.
True. True indeed. So to close out the pod, Dallas seems to be hot on the offensive player. Jerry Jones, man, you need to chill, man. You need to just give up this
He gets in
GM
his own
job.
way.
Yo, what's up with him? You hot on Kyle Pitts, so you need a tight end. It's only one ball, bro, for one.
And they
For
already
two,
got three good receivers, and Zeke wants the
yeah.
ball damn near every play as well.
Yo, come on, man. You can only pay certain players, bro. Like you just not going to just focus on defense. That's what got you in trouble. All these years was your D. Your
Oh,
offense was nice. You couldn't stop nobody.
what's your word for their D?
Candy.
They
Candy
definitely
D.
had that
Terry
Candy D.
Claw.
I
Like,
mean,
yo, man.
I could see if I was them, the only way I would go offense would be for them would be offensive line because their
Yes.
left tackle Tyron Smith had these neck injuries and then a lot of
Yep.
them got hurt. But I'm with you. I absolutely think they need to go defense. So like we talked about these corners or maybe the edge rusher. I don't know, but they definitely need to go defense 100% because
Even
your
if,
offense you don't need an offensive skill position at this point,
yeah,
not right now, unless you're getting it's a late round pick and you're doing it for depth purposes in case of
yeah.
injuries. You need to start building that defense now.
But even like we said, if these top tackles fall or offensive linemen fall, they better get them. Because,
Absolutely.
Travis Frederick, the center, he had a career-ending injury or whatever he had. It was career-ending, so he couldn't play football no more. So that really affected them last year. But if you can get an offensive lineman, you get it because what we always say, man, you don't have to pay these people. You can franchise them. You can have these kids for 5, 6, 7 years if you franchise them 3 times. So you can have these people wrapped up in the contract for so long where you can have them at that position for years.
And yeah, that to me, that's one of the most important parts of the team, as I've stated a few times there with the offensive
Yeah.
line. And to go back to their defense, it's not like you need the number one defense, but you need a defense
That
that
can make stops.
that can get the stop when
Yep.
you need at least a middle of the road defense, in my opinion. Their offense with a healthy Dak is going to put up points because there's not many teams that can just flat out stop Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup
Yeah.
and stop Zeke all at the same time. Dallas is going to put up some points with a healthy Dak, but you just need a team to get that stop or two when you need it the most, and your offense is going to score. You'd be all right. So if they upgrade the defense even a little bit, because we know again that division is going to be up for grabs. It was
Yeah.
historically bad last year, and how much better is it going to be this year? Because the Eagles
Yeah.
are in the
So,
rebuilding mode. The Giants, they're they're not going to. I don't think they're going to be great. Washington is decent, but with their quarterback
yeah.
situation, you don't know how far they're going to go. You want to say Dallas should be the favorite because out of the 4 teams, they got the best quarterback situation. They got the best quarterback in the division.
They got
But
the best quarterback. They got the best receivers. They got the best running back. I don't know about my boy. My boy, nice Sanders is nice. I don't know,
and don't
but
forget Saquon Barkley's back too.
yeah, Saquon, yeah, but they got the best running back that's
He's
been in the
consistent.
league and have been
And he does it
consistent and
year after year. He
proven.
does it.
Yes, until he messed something up before the season. Then he got a six games or something doing stupid stuff. But yeah, like we said, man, they got everything. I just think they don't got the right coach.
No,
That's just me.
I agree. And I think that goes to the overall culture, starting with Jerry Jones. That I just don't feel like, but I just don't feel like that team has the leadership. Yeah, I think Dak's a leader, but you need more than one leader on that team. Who else is out there on that? Like all these great teams that you see, they have great
Yeah,
leadership on their team. And again, with you go back to the coach too. Like yeah, McCarthy won a Super Bowl before. But last year, even before Dak got hurt, yeah, he was putting up numbers, but they were still a dumpster fire. Like losing all these
yeah, they
games, like they had like
trash.
one win. They were like 1-3. So I don't know. I just think that overall culture just seems off to me. They're not that American to me. They're not that America's team anymore. At least in my lifetime, they haven't been good. They haven't been good since before I remember, since I was a little kid. And I don't really
Yeah,
remember that much because I was like 3 years old when they were good. Now, all I know is they haven't won a playoff game in like 20. They've won one playoff game in the last 25 years. So,
yeah,
eh. But hey, if they
yeah,
want to continue being bad, that's not my team, so I'm not too mad at it. As long as my team's doing
yeah.
good,
I
then
I
that's all
want
that
them.
matters.
Look, man, I want them to select an offensive player, man. That's it. Go ahead. Select that offensive player, man.
Let's
I'm, I'm,
retain
I'm
fall to the
ready to get them
Eagles.
corners, man. But yeah, people, that's a wrap. Convo Vision, nothing but conversations podcast with my boy Mike. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks
We're
for
gonna
having
come
me.
with a
Can't wait to
part
be back
two.
on it.
Yes, sir. We coming with a part 2 after the draft, how our teams did. So stay tuned for that. Yeah. One.
Sound nothing like it.
So that was episode 17, Draft War Room 2021. I'd like to thank my guest, Mike Z, for stopping by the pod. You know how we get down. And so, you can check this podcast out on YouTube, Convo Vision, on every major platform that you can listen to podcasting. This podcast is on there. And so, people, we will be coming with another episode breaking down our 2 teams, the Eagles and the Ravens, how we did in this year's draft. So with that, stay safe, give respect, and show love. One. Make sure you go listen to all old and new NBC podcast episodes on all podcasting platforms. And please go to www.nothingbutconvos.com for the latest apparel.